What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. And I wanted to make this video because I watched the wild card game last night on Monday night between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I had to make this video because I had to admit that I was wrong about Dak Prescott. At least for one game, I was really wrong about Dak Prescott because I thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to come out and beat the Cowboys on their home field, because you'd never bet against Brady in the playoffs. You never bet against Brady at home in the playoffs. And I just thought that Dak wouldn't be able to live up to beating Tom Brady on the road in a wild card game. Dallas had not won a road playoff game in 30 years. This was like their first time winning a road playoff game since 1992 or 1993. And I just thought that the things that were plaguing their offense all year, even though they were scoring a bunch of points, like around 32.5 when Dak returned from injury, I just thought that Dak's decision making and costly turnovers would come back to bite them in this game and they were going to lose. But that is not what happened, because after the game started rough with 3 and outs on both sides, it was kind of just going back and forth. Dallas took control of the game, and in particular, Dak Prescott took control of this game because he threw for over 300 yards, 303 yards, I believe, 4 touchdowns through the air, 2 to Dalton Schultz, 1 to CeeDee Lamb, 1 to Michael Gallup, and he also had 1 on the ground to give him a total of 5 touchdowns for the game. Dak Prescott went on the road and scored 5 touchdowns against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that, say what you want about the team overall, their defense is still very good and it needs to be respected. And he went on the road and dropped 5 touchdowns on them. And when you just look at how this game went, Dallas's defense was able to basically expose Tampa Bay's issues that they've been having all year. Even though they won the NFC South, which is arguably now the worst division in football, or at least was this past season, they were not a good football team. On offense, they struggled to score points. They only scored 24 points or more twice all season long. And on defense, they couldn't get to the quarterback. They couldn't rush the passer. Their pass rush was ranked towards the bottom of the league. And when you just look at how they struggled on offense, because they can't stretch the ball down the field, Tom Brady can't really, he doesn't have the, not only the time, he just doesn't really have the touch that he used to have. He did make a big throw to Julio Jones in the game. He made some deep throws to Mike Evans, but something was just off with the Buccaneers offense all year. And it looks like Tom Brady may be out, or he may retire, he may go to another team. We don't really know at this point. And Dallas was just able to take control of the game on both sides of the ball, because on defense, when Tampa Bay would try and run the ball, they couldn't run it. They only ran the ball like 9 or 10 times the whole game, and Brady finished the game with an absurd 66 pass attempts, and I think he barely completed half of them. So great job by the Dallas Cowboys defense. They've been doing what they were doing all year long. They got pressure on Brady, and they forced another turnover. They forced a red zone turnover on Tom Brady, a guy who had gone 409 consecutive pass attempts in the red zone without throwing an interception. And last night, Jaron Kearse got him, and on a play that it looked like Tom Brady was about to try and throw it away, but it was inaccurate, and Jaron Kearse picked it off. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys offense, they were able to run it just well enough that Tampa Bay had to respect and prepare for that, which allowed Dak Prescott to sort of drop back and find whoever he wanted and at any point in the game. And another thing that I was impressed with about Dak is that he did a very good job of handling what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense was sending his way. He was able to find guys whenever they were open, and there was one play in particular that sticks out to me, because when Dallas was up 24-0, Tampa Bay went on to score a touchdown. They had a touchdown drive in which Julio Jones caught a long touchdown pass from Tom Brady. It was sort of the only momentum that Tampa had all game long before that interception that Brady threw in the red zone. So it's 24-6. They go for 2, don't get it, on a questionable no call against Chris Godwin, who was definitely held, should have been a flag. Dallas gets the ball back, and it's 3rd and 6 in their own territory. I think they're already in field goal range. Brett Maher, who had been terrible all night, I'll get to him in a second. Dak Prescott drops back against a blitz and finds Michael Gallup on a slant, and that sort of just basically ended any momentum that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had gained throughout the course of those last 2 series. Because I think if Dallas doesn't convert that 3rd down, Tampa gets the ball back and starts to feel like they may get something going. But instead, that was also the drive, I believe, that they went for it on 4th and 4, and Dak found CeeDee Lamb wide open, busted coverage by the Buccaneers. He found CeeDee Lamb wide open for a touchdown, and that basically put the game away. So, great job by Dallas on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And just to get to one more thing on offense, you clearly see the difference between Zeke and Tony Pollard when both of them are running the football. Pollard just has much more of a pop to his step. He's able to get that burst that Zeke doesn't really have anymore. They still seem to like to go to Zeke a lot down near the goal line. That didn't really work out last night, but it's something that had been working for them all season long. So Zeke is still a guy that can get you those finishing touchdowns if you just give it to him really close to the goal line. But Tony Pollard, just eye test wise, clearly looks like the better running back on that team. I still think that Zeke does some things that Tony Pollard maybe isn't as good at in terms of, with the main being pass blocking, because when you're passing, you got to have a running back in there who's willing to make blocks, won't miss assignments, and Zeke is a very good blocker. I think that's something that Tony Pollard could improve on. But like I said in a previous video, I still think that the best solution for the Cowboys at running back is to continue this 1-2 punch, because I believe if Tony Pollard is a guy that becomes like a workhorse who's getting 20 to 25 touches a game, I think that's not the best situation for him, because I think he is a guy, due to his frame, who could potentially get injured. But anyway, now on to special teams, because I could say that the only flaw that the Cowboys showed is that they obviously need to practice special teams this week ahead of their matchup with the 49ers, because their kicker, Brett Maher, missed 4 extra points. Not only 4 extra points, he missed 4 consecutive extra points. His first 4 extra points that should have made the score 28-0. It shouldn't have been 24-0. He eventually made 1, so he finished the game 1 for 5 on extra points. And late in the game, the Cowboys failed to recover the onside kick attempt by the Buccaneers. Noah Brown, the ball went in and out of his hands. So that's another thing that the Cowboys were showing on special teams, like their need to address that, because it's definitely a concern. Because you can get away with mistakes like that against the 49ers, against the Buccaneers, but you can't get away with mistakes like that against the 49ers. Brett Maher left 4 points on the board. The score should have been 35-14, not 31-14. And when you look at who they're playing next week, they're going on the road to who I think is the best team in the NFC. 4 points is going to matter. That's the line for the game. San Francisco is a 4-point favorite. And if Brett Maher is going to leave all those extra points off the board, it's going to not end well, because let's say that Dallas makes that game really close and it comes down to field goal kicking and special teams. They have to be on top of their game on all 3 phases of the ball if they want to beat the 49ers at Santa Clara, at Levi's Stadium. And so, yeah, basically, I'll end this off by talking about Tom Brady for a little bit. Do I think he's going to retire? No. I think my gut feeling is that he tries to come back for one more season on a different team. And I think that I honestly don't think like the need to leave the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are still a very talented roster. Their offensive line isn't as good as it used to be, so maybe that's a contributing factor to why Brady would want to leave. He'd want to go to a team with a more stable offensive line. The teams that are being talked about a lot are the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the 49ers. I don't think the 49ers are going to be in a market for him because of what Brock Purdy has been able to do for them this year. But I do think Brady will leave and try and come back for one more season, because I don't think he's not going to want his last game as a Buccaneer to be remembered as something that was like basically a horrible performance. He doesn't want to go out like that. Just like how he didn't want to go out throwing his last pass as a New England Patriot to be a pick six. And me personally, if I was Brady, I think I would have retired after defeating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl a few years ago, because it was his 7th ring and he proved that he could win without Bill Belichick, and that Tom Brady was sort of the guy who deserved most of the credit for the Patriots dynasty. So that's when I would have decided to call it quits. But, you know, a guy like Tom Brady, if he thinks he can still play, he's going to still play. So, yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the game. Cowboys 49ers is going to be a great game on Sunday, along with all the other matchups Saturday and Sunday. Let me know what you guys think about the upcoming round of the divisional playoffs, who you guys have winning, and leave all those comments in the comment section. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. and make sure to find the rest of my content linked in the description.